There is a ton of different Bitcoin charts and technical analysis with different price predictions and different price targets. But if you are a long-term Bitcoin investor, the only chart that you needed so far is a Bitcoin Rainbow chart. Hello and welcome back to the Project Sandbox channel. If you like this kind of content, click the like button and consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this. Now, this might seem funny because Bitcoin Rainbow chart is actually a really simple chart, but in my opinion, it's actually really interesting how this chart has played out so far. So the first time that I have seen this chart was around 2016. It was in the middle of the bear market, and there was not much data on this chart at that time. So if you can imagine, at that time we only had this part of the chart from 2013 2016 with just one halving and just one bull run actually. So it was really impossible to predict what will happen in the future, but this chart has played out so beautifully. So what actually is a Bitcoin Rainbow chart? As you can see here in the description, the Bitcoin Rainbow chart is meant to be a fun way of looking at long-term price movements disregarding the daily volatility noise. And this is actually exactly what I'm looking at as a long-term investor, because I don't want to be bombarded with daily news and the daily Bitcoin movements, because obviously Bitcoin is very volatile and moves like that happen all of the time. But right here on this chart you can get some sanity, some calmness, and you can actually make a long-term plan with your investment portfolio, even though nobody actually knows what will happen in the future. So as you can see, the color bands follow a logarithmic regression, but are otherwise completely arbitrary and without any scientific basis. So as you can see, this is a logarithmic chart of Bitcoin price movement, and we also have halvings here shown on the chart. And from what we can see so far is basically the same story after each halving. So right here the halving was at the end of the 2012, in December 2012, and then we had a bull run top in December in 2013, so exactly 1 year after. And then we had another halving, and after that halving, which was in July 2016, the next bull market top was in December and 2017, so about year and a half, maybe a little bit less. And then we had another halving, which is the current last halving, in the May of 2020 with our double top. So this is the first time that we actually had a double top, and we had the first top in 2012 in April, which is actually less than a year, and then we had another top in the same year about 6 months after. So 1 year to year and a half from Bitcoin halving to the Bitcoin bull market top. As we can see, the first bull market top was actually going above this chart. The next one was just touching the top limit of the chart, and the last bull market high that we had didn't actually come to the red area. So the Bitcoin has lost some momentum, but this is actually pretty normal, and it was expected to happen, because when we had an asset that is growing so fast at such a high rate as Bitcoin did, there obviously is going to be some kind of slowdown in the growing rate. But still, can you actually see how this chart has played out? Back in 2016, when I first saw this chart, the Bitcoin was trading about, I don't know, $300 or $500. And I was looking at these possible bull market tops even back then, and 100k or let's say 700k seemed really out of reach at that time. But as you can see right now, we are not far away from 100k, and this number is really in play for the next bull market high. So I don't want to say that this is the only chart that you need to watch when you are investing in Bitcoin, but is one chart to consider amongst other charts that you are probably tracking, because right here you really have a simple way of understanding when it's a good time to buy a Bitcoin and when it's not. In each bear market, we are hanging around this blue line, which of course it's rising because it's logarithmic chart, and we did something similar in the last bull market. We have rised above a little bit and then come back down, and right now we are again trading around this number. A lot of people is actually thinking what could be a possible bottom for this bear market, and a lot of people are talking about $10,000 Bitcoin, which of course it's not impossible. But let's take a look at this chart. As you can see right now, we are actually touching the total bottom of this blue line, which has been a support for Bitcoin price movement since 2013. So this is such a strong support level that I think Bitcoin going below this support level is maybe a bit unlikely. Not impossible, but maybe a bit unlikely. Maybe we can see a little wick down, but it should probably come back to this level pretty fast. But if you are considering if right now is a good time to buy a Bitcoin or not, as you can see, it's basically a fire sale. This definitely is a good time to buy a Bitcoin, even if the price goes down to, I don't know, $10,000 or $15,000. If you can buy a Bitcoin for $20,000, it's still a good buy, because as you can see, this blue line is rising, and we will be probably in the bear market for another year or maybe even more. As you can see, the next halving is in March 2024, and as you can see from this chart, after halving we slowly start building momentum, and then we break the bull market doors and go into the bull run. It might happen somewhere around here, where actually our data on the chart will end, but we can still predict something for the next bull run even on this chart. As you can see, the price is slowly rising, so we are expecting price to be around at $40,000 or $42,000 in the next halving, and even in 2024 at $40,000, this would be still a good price to buy a Bitcoin, because then if we go into the next bull run around this area, we could potentially reach, I don't know, $150,000 or maybe even $200,000. I really don't believe that Bitcoin has so much momentum that it will go all the way to the top of this Bitcoin Rainbow chart. This probably won't happen. But I believe that Bitcoin still can reach $1 million, but not in 2 years, maybe in 10, 15, 20 years. I believe that Bitcoin can and will reach $1 million. So if you are looking at the Bitcoin as a long-term investment, then buying now at $20,000 or $15,000 isn't actually so much of a difference. Once again, I'm not trying to give any financial advice here. I am not financial advisor. I just wanted to make this video because when I first seen this Bitcoin Rainbow chart in the 2016, there really wasn't a lot of data on this chart, but what has actually happened is so accurate on this chart, and the Bitcoin price has so beautifully played out that I think that this chart should be mentioned. So I will put a link to this chart below the video. You can take a look at it and create your own opinion about this chart. Thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed this content, please like the video and consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like that. See you in the next one.